The legend of the phoenix all ends with beginnings. What keeps the planet spinning? The force from the beginning. Love. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cups to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 The present has no ribbon. Your gift keeps on giving. What is this I'm feeling? If you wanna leave, I'm with it. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cups to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 We're up all night to get. 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 We're up all night to get lucky. 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 We've come too far to give up who we are. standing in the rain with his head hung low. Couldn't get a ticket, it was a sold out show. Heard the roar of the crowd, he could picture the scene. Put his ear to the wall, then like a distant scream, he heard one guitar. Shadow by the backstage door, like a trip through the past. That day in the rain, and that one guitar made his whole life change. Now he needs to keep it rocking. He just can't stop. Gotta keep on rocking. That boy has got to stay on top and be a jukebox hero.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome to WreckTalk Live. I hope you're all doing great tonight, and I already see some people asking, and I think Squid, we got a guest picker tonight. College football game day doesn't have anything on WreckTalk Live. We've got Squidtard in the back room who's going to come on and pick with us. Before we get to that, I'm going to go through the chat. And I see you guys asking about Touchdown Tim. And I know why. I think Squid saw some of that. He was not able to make it tonight. He did send me a message on Twitter that, you know, his stupid wife has him going to some barbecue and he's got to deal with his dumbass brother-in-law. and he's not happy about it. Now, he did say he was going to send me some Touchdown Tim merch, which, by the way, if you don't have your Touchdown Tim merch, here it is, guys. Here it is. He's going to send me one of these. Now, I got to get a P.O. box because I don't necessarily want people having my address. But, I mean, I'm straight giddy. I'm straight giddy about it. I would think maybe because we're on a bye week, maybe we have him on Sunday. I would love to hear Touchdown Tim's thoughts on whatever happens with the UNC game. But let's go through the chat. We've got Buzz Talk. That's right, Buzz Talk, the newest Georgia Tech YouTuber in the house, says, "What's up, Rec?" Now, if you see, he's got some custom emojis, guys. You'll see some people whose names are green. That's because they're members of the channel. If you're a member of the channel, it's $5 a month. You get those custom emojis. You get a green name so everyone knows you're part of WreckTalk Nation. You get access to all the members-only videos. There's like 20 or 30 in there. So become a member today. We got John Burns says, "Play the underdogs to win." Yeah, I like it. The Adam117 says, "Really hoping Washington wins for my pick'em league at work. Really need the points." We're going to get into that. That's a tough game to pick. That's a tough game to pick. Really, any Pac-12 matchup is a tough game to pick, in my opinion. But moving on, GT Faithful says, "Hey, Rec, what stage of grief do you think Miami is in?" I think we'll ask Squid that when we get him on, too. I know he's been through several stages of grief rooting for Tennessee, just like we have rooting for Georgia Tech. I'm thinking we'll be waiting till next year for acceptance. I don't think you're ever going to get it. I think they're in denial, and I think it's unlikely they'll ever move beyond denial. Nerdstop says, "At work, hope you all have a good stream." Well, appreciate you stopping in, Nerdstop. BC Jackets, also another Georgia Tech YouTuber in the house. Tonight, let's see here. Coffee Killer, evening all. We've got Fish and Football. He's a Gators fan, says Yo-Yo. Harrison Chan said, "When is Touchdown Timothy coming on for the show?" I'm hoping Sunday or Monday. As quickly as I can get Touchdown Tim on the show, guys, I'm going to. In fact, let me, if you're not following Touchdown Tim on Twitter, I'm going to drop his link. Evidently, he's being shadow banned on Twitter. I can't imagine why. With the very reasonable things that he does say. He's in a Spaces, it looks like right now. But go, guys, I want y'all all to go follow Touchdown Tim on Twitter. And I want you to comment on whatever post is most recent with hashtag #FreeTouchdownTim. We need to get Touchdown Tim out of Twitter jail for the good of everyone. Tiger Cat in the house says, "Hello, I love Foreigner." Yeah, it's a great song. We brought the heat tonight with the music. Squid Tard says, "Join the join." Connor the Rudolph, new member of the channel, says, "Happy Friday the 13th." It is Friday the 13th. That is correct. So with that, let's bring on our guest picker for tonight. Squid Tard, how are you doing, sir?
What's going on, brother? How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Let me mess around with this. Let me pull your mic down a little bit. Go ahead.
Mic too loud. Yeah,
That's good.
I had to turn it up. I had to turn it up for my. I just posted my hate video for Texas A&M. I had to turn up the mic to near maximum volume.
No, it's all good. I fixed it. Well, if I let StreamYard automatically adjust the microphone, it will have me cranked down and everyone else cranked up. But I think we're good now. Now, if you guys don't know, Squid Tard is the genius. If you see all these graphics, if you see the intro video that we play, that's all Squid Tard. He made that. He's an absolute phenom and a genius when it comes to graphics design and video editing. I wish I could be as good as an editor as him, but I'd rather just pay him to do it for me. So if you have any video editing needs, if you need any graphics, definitely go hit up Squid Tard. I'm going to drop the link to his channel in the chat. And I'm also going to drop a link to his Twitter. Go follow him. He's a Tennessee fan. He's great people. I absolutely love Squid Tard. By the way, how is your iceberg video coming? I know you've been.
Oh, I managed to get most of it down. I at least got every single idea I need to get, except with being busy with university and all the other stuff throughout the season. It's hard for me to kind of sit down and work on that video. So I think right now, I mean, scripting wise, I think I can get that done before the off season comes. But it seems like one of those videos that I think I'm going to do in the off season because I had a couple of things on there that are going to have to be adjusted, like conference expansion and all of that, and with everything revolving around that. I'm gonna have to add a little bit more to that because I haven't even touched it since like July, so I'm gonna have to go back to that and take a good look and update on that.
Yeah, and just to bring you guys into the fold here, Squid Tard is working on an iceberg video. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these iceberg videos, but it's basically like it's usually with conspiracy theory type stuff. So I'm sure Touchdown Tim is going to love this video from what I know of Touchdown Tim. And it's things that like at the top of the iceberg, we all kind of take as true. And then as you get down, you talk about the bodies at, below Neyland Stadium and all of this stuff. I hope Jeff Collins is on there because I think a good theory would be that Jeff Collins is like a plant from like UGA or something. He definitely will speed run running your program into the ground.
Oh yeah, there are a couple like that. I've seen quite a few, and of course, I had to do research. It wasn't just something I could find like somebody on Reddit said it, and then of course it's a conspiracy. Like I found some crazy stuff online. There's one about how somebody stole like Lee Corso, somebody stole Smokey, and like a Kentucky fan stole the Smokey mascot. It's
Wow.
some of the craziest stuff. So I definitely, when I get around to it, I'm not so busy with schoolwork. I will absolutely start working on that because that's going to be a video I'm going to have a lot of fun working with the script for.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And guys, you're not going to know about it unless you subscribe to Squid Tard and turn on that notification bell. That's going to be one that you're not going to want to miss. Well, Squid, give us a little background. I know a lot of people on the WreckTalk channel don't really know a lot about you. You talked about you're in school. Tell us your background.
I guess the best way I could go about it is you mentioned I'm a Tennessee fan. Not really sure what would give that away. It's kind
Yeah.
of, it's one of those things not a lot of people know. But yeah, I've been on here for a good 7-something years now. I've been following the Tennessee football. I've split into 2 different channels. One where the one you guys want to follow is, of course, the Squid Tard Sports. That's where I post all my college football content and everything like that. But it used to be part of my main channel where it's just Squid Tard. And I used to, I'd post like just random meme content on there. In fact, I had a video 30 seconds long, hit over 1 million subscribers. Apparently, the YouTube algorithm loves that stuff. So
You have a million view video?
Oh yeah, 1.5 million.
Wow. Wow.
I know, it was crazy. It was at 200 views, and then I wake up the next day and it's sitting there at 100K. I'm like, what did I do? What kind of magic did I pull off to make this happen?
Well, I need to learn from you then. Yeah, I think my best video has like maybe 8,000. I need some of that Squid Tard magic.
Right. The algorithm works in mysterious ways. But yeah, over on Squid Tard Sports, of course, I just talk about, college football, mainly Tennessee football every single week. And, well, I've clearly given away that I'm not a bandwagon or a fair weather fan because if I were, I'd be gone 5 years ago. You wouldn't know anything about me.
Well, more than 5 years ago, I think. Probably
Oh,
after Philip. I mean, I know you're younger, but after Philip Fulmer, it's been pretty rough up until last year, and then this year, is what it is. But
I got on YouTube towards the start of the collapse of the Butch Jones era. Like that one year we went like 4-8, didn't win an SEC conference game. That was when I actually joined YouTube. And then, so I got to go and run through the entire Jeremy Pruitt era. And of course, one of my most viewed videos just so happened to be when we lost to Georgia State
Yep.
a couple of years ago. And I think everybody on here has seen that, whether or not they know who I am.
This is certainly true. Now, you're a student at Tennessee,
Correct. Yeah.
and you're studying what?
Journalism and electronic media is what they call it. Before, when I went to I transferred from a community college, and over there they called it video technology.
Yeah.
As you mentioned earlier, I'm kind of big into video editing. That's kind of where my main focus is. But I guess the broader term for the major is just a major in journalism, if you want to put it that way.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been working through it. I think I've got a few more semesters in me, and then I graduate in January of 25, hopefully.
Nice.
So, that plays out.
Well, Buzz Talk has a $5 super chat. He says, TD Tim Iceberg. So he's got some suggestions for your iceberg video. I think Touchdown Tim probably should make an appearance on your iceberg. He's a Miami fan. Bottom, he's really Jeff Collins, and his wife is Kirby Smart. The barbecue they went to tonight is Vanderbilt. Wow. Wow. How much of that video did you watch, by the way?
I did. I saw a good majority of. I was actually in the live stream while you and C Dog were going through the whole thing, so I got to see most of what he said, and I think he would do great. I think he would do great with a journalism degree.
Yeah, well, he is a sports writer. It says that on his Twitter.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's as official as it gets. With that being said, let's make some picks. Now, before we get into that, I will say, guys, in my first week of picking the spread, let me see if I can find it here. Yes, right here. Let me switch screens, right screen capture. Let me see if I can. Yes, these are my picks. You can't really see from last week. I picked Boston College to win outright. They did. I missed on Washington State, and then I hit on my other money line bets with Kansas and Louisville. That was a big one for me. I picked Louisville on the money line, and they win. Picked LSU to cover. They did. Florida State did not cover, unfortunately. North Carolina did. Alabama covered. I pushed with Colorado. They won by exactly 3. And I cut a lot of flack for saying Georgia would cover, and they did. I just thought Georgia would get it together last week. I thought their run defense was too good, and that's all really what Kentucky's offense was. Oregon State covered, and I will never, ever pick USC to cover again. I missed on that. I won't go through all of them, but I did pick 65% last week, which is definitely what you would call an outlier. Please do not take that as I know at all what I'm doing.
Why do dermatologists worldwide recommend
No.
La Roche-Posay? Effective skincare like
Hold
La
on.
Roche-Posay double.
I hate ESPN. I hate advertisers. If there was like a vigilante Batman that took out every advertising head in the country, I would certainly support.
Oh, I feel exactly what you're talking about. The part that makes me so mad about it is the fact that it's an ad that plays when you're not looking at it, and you can't even figure out where it's coming from until it clicks a minute later and you find out it's a small box on
Yes.
the ESPN tab.
Yeah, this is what happened with Fextra Life. If anyone's into video games, they embedded their Twitter streams into like walkthroughs on their website, which inflated their Twitter numbers, and it was kind of a controversy. That's another conversation for another time. Did you see the top 50 word head coaching from that Boomer Twitter account? Was it Big Game Boomer or something?
Big Game Boomer, yep.
He had a top 50 worst head coaches. Do you know who wasn't on it?
I'm going to take a guess and say Mr. Touchdown
No.
Timothy.
Jeff Collins was not on it. Can you believe that?
Right.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't
But,
believe that.
That is unbelievable. You'd think with all the time he has to create these polls about the top 50 student sections per week, you'd think he'd put in a little more research to that. But I guess limited time for every day.
Unreal. Well, here's what I got. This is how I do it. I use a little tier list. That's just easy for me. So I got upset wins, will cover, won't cover, upset losses. Obviously, if you're picking an upset win, you're taking the money line on that one. If you don't know what the money line is, the money line is where you bet and you say, I don't want to worry about points. I just want to pick who's going to win the game. You generally only do that when you're picking a big underdog to upset. Although a lot of people lost a lot of money with Mario Cristobal last week. A lot of people now are taking money line favorite parlays. Now, if you want to be separated from your money, definitely bet parlays. There's a reason they have a bigger payout. And because that was an 8 o'clock game, that a lot of people took Miami on their 5-game money line favorite parlay and lost a lot of money. This is why you don't bet on sports. This is purely for fun for me. But I've got one tab for you, one tab for me. So let's get into it. And in a few hours, hour and a half or so, Stanford and at Colorado. Colorado's a 12.5-point favorite here. What do you think, Squid?
Well, I thought they were going to well cover against Arizona State, and well, they what was the spread on that? Because I know it was a pretty small spread.
I pushed on that. It was 3 points.
Right. So Stanford's probably one of the worst teams in the Power Five as it stands right now. I think Colorado should cover this. I think they'll win by at least 14, and the spread's 12.5. So I'd take Colorado there.
All right, you're going to take Colorado to cover. Now, for whatever reason, no one ever puts things in alphabetical order, so I'm going to have to look through here. There's Colorado. So Squid's got Colorado. They will cover. I'm a little torn. I tend to think Colorado will cover. They should cover.
Mm-hmm.
But their defense is suspect. That being said, Stanford's so bad, I tend to think they will cover as well. I'll take Colorado to cover tonight.
If this were at Stanford, I might take Stanford at least to cover, but I'm not when it's at Colorado.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. All right, let's go down here. We've talked about it. Georgia at Vanderbilt. Georgia, they don't ever travel too far for a road game. I'm trying to think the furthest that they will travel this year. I don't think it's more than a state away. Ole Miss. Yeah, they got to go to Ole Miss. I think that might be their furthest road game.
Actually, I think they play Ole Miss at home.
They got Ole Miss at home.
Yeah.
Let me see real quick. I'm interested. Where are their road games? They went to Auburn, Vandy, Tennessee, and Georgia Tech.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
That's 4 road games in a 12-game season. That's insane.
Knoxville will probably be the furthest they travel this year. Wow.
Right. Did they? Because they don't play a neutral site this year, so they only have 4 road games.
Yeah. I've been told that Mayhem Matthew came on and tried to justify their schedule, was an absolute dog water, but hey, whatever. I never like taking favorites in a very large spread like this because the margin for error is just so small. Vandy is Vandy the worst team in the SEC? Probably.
By a long shot, yeah.
I picked Georgia to cover last week, and they did. It would be hard. I got to take Georgia to cover again here. Actually, this is yours. Mine's on the left. I'm going to take Georgia to cover 32.5. But I'm not super confident in these big spreads. What do you think?
I think Georgia covers by the end of half. Vandy has not – I don't know if you knew this or not, but Vandy has not put up a touchdown on Georgia in 5 years.
Wow.
Which is an absolutely crazy.
I think it's 3
statistic.
years, right? Is it 3 or 5? I think they haven't scored a
5,
touchdown.
yeah.
It's 5? Wow.
The
Wow.
last time was 2018 where they put up a touchdown. That's unreal. So until they do, I'm riding with Georgia and the points.
I hear you. Huffer Billy Paul, it is the only Squid Tart on here. You are correct. I know it's kind of tough to see with us scrunched in the bottom of the screen. But, you know, I wanted a guest picker for tonight, and I couldn't think of a better one.
Oh, thank you. What's going on, Huffer Billy? Glad you could make it.
Yeah, I love Huffer Billy. I don't
Great.
I don't know if I want to pick Michigan, Indiana at Michigan. We'll do it. It's another 33-point line, basically the same as Georgia. I'll let you pick this one. What do you think? Michigan's undefeated. Do you think they cover 33 points?
With Georgia and Vandy, you know, Georgia is just so far more talented than Vandy that it's not even a question. You know, you think Georgia covers the spread, and you know, Georgia at least tends to show up on the road. With Michigan, it's a little, you know, it's a little more difficult because Michigan plays a style of offense that's different, and they kind of tend to, you know, they're one of these teams that kind of, you know, doesn't show up for a little while and then eventually pulls away. I feel like I'm going to take Indiana to cover here. I think, you know, that's a huge spread to cover. And to be honest, with Michigan and how sloppy they've kind of been playing throughout a few of their games, and I know Georgia's been the same way, but I think Indiana is a better team than Vandy. So give me Indiana to cover. I do have Michigan winning the game though.
So give them all 33 points in Indiana. Now, I don't even know if Indiana's on here. They should be because they're a Division I team. I'm going to have trouble finding them.
Maybe they have a different logo.
I might just put Michigan will not cover. We'll do that. We'll put Michigan in the won't cover category here. And I agree with you. I know it's a home game for Michigan. I know they had a blowout win last week, but they were winning every game, even against far inferior opponents like 36-7 and whatnot. I didn't plan it this way, but I agree. I don't think Michigan covers here. Now, where did I find Michigan?
It's so hard for these teams that are like, you know, in the top 5 to get hyped up for these matchups where they're playing such, you know, lower tier opponents like that. And no, it's not. I mean, if they were playing a team like Popeyes East, then I would expect them to cover that spread. But it's, you know, it's still a Power 5 team that they're playing up against.
Yeah, and again, I think you're right. Like Vandy is just a really awful team. I do think Indiana's a better team. I just found this. Oh, here it is. 33 points, I think, is just too much to cover as well. And this is, again, why you don't bet on sports, because a meaningless field goal in garbage time in the fourth quarter loses you money.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Ohio State at Purdue. Ohio State's an 18-point favorite. They go on the road. Purdue, are they as bad as Vandy? I don't know. They've been pretty awful this year. You don't think so?
No, I don't think Purdue's that bad. And they've shown signs of life. I think a few weeks ago, I think it was Illinois. They manhandled Illinois, which was surprising because Ryan Walters came from Illinois and then proceeded to put a whooping on him. So Purdue's got some fight in them, but I do think they're way less talented than Ohio State.
I tell you what, I think Ohio State covers the 18 points, though. I'd take them and lay the points. What do you think?
Well, this is kind of a tough one. Ohio State looked really sloppy against Maryland, which, yeah, Maryland is undefeated and not necessarily a bad team. In fact, they're actually a pretty good team, but Ohio State's got problems of their own. But it's, you know, it would be really weird for me to disagree with you on this one. I think Ohio State covers.
All right, where will we divert paths here? We've picked the same up to this point. Now, this next game is a tough one for me. Syracuse at Florida State. It's not a huge line, 18.5 points. So Syracuse will go on the road. Florida State looks like they could be the best team in the ACC. North Carolina might have something to say about that. But I don't really know what to think about Syracuse because I don't think Syracuse is a bad team. What do you think, Squid? Who are you taking here?
I think Syracuse was fool's gold. Last year, they kind of went through the same exact thing that they're going through this year, which is, they start out by winning a bunch of games and then they play up against a team like Clemson who beats Syracuse, and then that team completely falls off the map. And Syracuse, they started out, I think, 4-0. Then they lose to Clemson, and then the last game that they played, they just got absolutely dominated against. I have to look and see who it was, but I know it was. Yeah, I think they. I don't know actually. Who was it that they played last?
Florida
'Cause
State
I
or
no,
Syracuse?
yeah. Well, it was in between when they played Clemson, which Syracuse,
They played
played
Virginia
Clemson.
Tech. They didn't cover last week, 39-17.
Okay, gotcha. So it's really kind of weird to get a read on where I think Syracuse is going to end up. Yeah, it was the North. Okay, it was North Carolina. That's who it was.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
got beat 40-7. That's right.
Oh yeah, no, they got destroyed by North Carolina. So I think, in my opinion, I think Florida State's going to make a statement, and I think Florida State covers against Syracuse.
Ooh, let's see. 18.5 points. Florida State should cover. I feel like Florida State, they did stumble against BC. Let me look back at their schedule. I don't know, man. Where do I put Florida State?
It just depends on which Florida State team shows up. It's a little more indecisive with them because you don't know whether or not the team that, played Boston College is going to show up, or the team that dropped LSU in week 1. There's just no telling.
I'm going to take them not to cover. This is where we'll diverge here. I think Florida State comes out. Who do they have the following week? Could they be overlooking them for anybody? They've got Duke. Duke is a definitely quality opponent. I don't think that qualifies as a trap game by any means. I just tend to think Syracuse gets it together this week. I don't think they win. They might give them a little bit of a scare, though. But I've been wrong about simpler things. Next up, 12 p.m. on ESPN, Arkansas at Alabama. Alabama's a 19.5-point favorite here. I'll let you pick first the last time. Arkansas has really, really struggled this year. They lost to BYU. They had a close one with LSU, though. Closer one with Texas A&M. I mean, they've lost some close games. It's not like they're getting just run off the field. I am probably higher on Sam Pittman than most. 19.5. I don't know. I think Alabama's gotten a little bit better every week. I'll take Alabama to cover. It's a lot of points, 19.5. What do you think, Squid?
It's definitely a tough game to call because, I do think Arkansas is better than their record shows. It's just Bama has started to look like Bama for the past few weeks. Now, the Texas A&M game, though they won, it was kind of a sloppy performance. So my guess is that they're getting ready to make a statement this week at home against Arkansas. In my mind, I just don't see, when you look at both of these teams, there's not much that Arkansas has that goes up well against Alabama.
Yeah.
And to me, I just think, Bama's just a way better team, and they're going to probably pad some stats towards the end of this game. They're going to pull away in the fourth. So give me Bama to cover.
All right, we're taking a lot of teams to cover right now. Slim says, what pick don't you agree with, Slim?
I think he's just saying that because that's kind of one of the things he does. Everybody has something they come in with, start out with. That might just be a Slim's thing.
He's just generally confused. I do agree with that. Don't care.
I'd be confused as well if I were a Canes fan.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I don't care about Michigan State, Iowa State, Temple. I don't care about any of these games enough to pick them. I do care about the Pac-12 though. California at number 16 Utah. Utah got had to eat a little bit of humble pie last week. Took their first loss. California has not been a good team. Let's see. They lost to Auburn 14-10. I think Auburn's a pretty bad team. They got absolutely manhandled by Washington and Oregon State. What do you think here? 11 points at home for Utah.
Man, that's a tough one to call because I don't. Cam Rising ain't coming back this week, is he? I don't think he is. So Utah, their offense has been like extremely lackluster these
Yes.
past few weeks, and I think that continues. I think Utah just continuously just has a bad game on offense. I think they'll win the game, but I think Cal covers.
All right, so you're going to take the points and you're going to take Cal. So you're saying Utah will not cover.
Correct.
Look, it's tough to pick games for teams that I don't watch a ton of. I don't watch a lot of West Coast football. I just think Cal's a really bad team, though. I just think they're really bad. I think Utah's a lot more talented. I think Utah covers this week.
All right.
Lay the points. Give me Utah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Now, it was on the thumbnail. Is game day in Washington this week? Is this where game day is?
I think they might be in South Bend actually, but
Puke,
I'll
dude.
check again. No, you're right. You're right. They're heading to Washington.
Yeah, I was about to say a top 10 matchup, 8-7. How could they not be in Washington? Now, Washington, this is almost a pick 'em as a flat 3-point favorite. So this could be a game you just push on, like I did with Colorado last week. Two undefeated team. This is going to be great. Dan Lanning in his second year at Oregon has really got it rolling. I've got to step away for 2 seconds here, but tell us about this game and who you have.
All right. Well, while he goes off to do whatever he's doing, I'll say, both these teams, really, really good teams. Oregon, like RecTalk said, he's got, Dan Lanning has done a lot of work over at Oregon, and Bo Nix, just like Michael Penix, Heisman contender. The quarterback matchup is going to be insane. I think it's going to be a lot like it was last year. Both teams battling in a shootout. And Oregon, of course, is hungry for revenge because they lost last season. But they're traveling out on the road. It's going to be a tough game, I think. I think it's going to be a super close game. But it is a 3-point spread, so I don't really know. Both these teams super good. But, usually in these situations where I struggle to pick a team, I just analyze whoever's the home team and, roll with them. And Washington is coming in as a 3-point favorite. I don't know if you guys agree with me on this or not, but I think when, they make these spreads, that home field advantage counts for 3 points. So if this game were a neutral site, this would be an even line. I think, that's just what I think about that. Many people might think that home field advantage doesn't matter, or it varies depending on where you are, because home field advantage can be different if you're, if you're a team like Michigan or if you're a team like Vanderbilt, it can be different. But anyway, they're both really good teams, but I gotta stick with Washington here. I think the Huskies win at home, and of course, I think they cover.
All right, let's find Washington. You're saying Washington covers. Not so fast, my friend. I'm high on this Dan Lanning Oregon team. I think they're very good. I think I'm super impressed with what he's doing there. I think, in fact, I think they could be a playoff team. I think they could win the Pac-12 with how unimpressive USC has been. Give me Oregon on the money line. I'll take them for an upset win. Hold on.
Man, the Oregon Ducks, a national title contender.
All right, yeah. Hot take tonight. Now, this is the one you need to talk up. We got Texas A&M at number 19, Tennessee. Tennessee 4-1. Texas A&M desperate for a win here. Jimbo approaching the hot seat. Tell us about this game.
Well, this is going to be a true test for Tennessee. We already have the loss to Florida. Tennessee absolutely needs this win to, keep the ship afloat. And I'm sure Texas A&M needs this one too. They already have 2 losses, and if we want to vary away from Texas 8-4, A&M absolutely has to win this game. Jimbo knows it, Petrino knows it, the whole team knows it. They're going to be fired up and they're going to be ready to play. And what makes this matchup so interesting is Tennessee has done a phenomenal job running the ball all season long. We've got 3 different running backs who, each have run for 100 yards 2 weeks ago against South Carolina. They each had a rushing touchdown. What Josh Heupel's offensive philosophy is they're going to try and spread this defense out. Texas A&M is coming to this game as the number 1 ranked rush defense in the SEC. So if Tennessee's not able to run the ball, or not run the ball efficiently, which is what I'm expecting in this game, they're going to have to heavily rely a whole lot more on the passing game, which means that Joe Milton is going to have to step up. The receivers are going to have to step up. This team will have to step up and prove that they mean something. And being at home with the checkerboards, the big environment, Neyland Stadium is such a huge factor in this game. And I think a lot of people are underlooking that. So with all that being said, I think Tennessee shows up, Joe Milton shows up, and Tennessee gets the W. And, of course, since it's a 3-point spread, I'd pick Tennessee to cover.
All right, you got Tennessee covering. I tell you what, I tend to agree. I'm not super high on Tennessee this year. They've definitely taken a step back. I think probably even you would agree from what they were last year. But I'm even lower on Jimbo Fisher. I'm not at all impressed with Texas A&M. I think his days are numbered there. He'd already be gone if he didn't have one of the more ridiculous contracts in college football. Give me Tennessee to cover.
Oh, yeah. Good old Jimbo.
Good old Jimbo. Now, 2 other teams that I don't know much about. Slim says Texas A&M going to dominate. If they win, I don't think they dominate. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no way.
Kansas at Oklahoma State. Kansas is a 3-point favorite in this game. 2 teams I don't know much about. Though I do like, Van Gundy at Oklahoma State. The most impressive thing with their team, isn't Uwe Ungalale there?
No, that's Oregon State.
That's Oregon State. All right.
Yeah.
I told you I don't know anything about these teams.
They do have similar logos, so I get it.
I'll tell you this. Since I don't know anything and Kansas is ranked, I'll take them to cover. Oh, that's yours. I'll take Kansas to cover. Where'd I find Kansas? God, I have zero memory. There they are. Give me Kansas to cover the 3 points.
Ain't hard to miss the Jayhawk.
That's right.
Yeah. It's a running gag over on my channel, and I'm sticking with it. Kansas is a playoff team, sir. They've only got 1 loss, and that loss was to Texas. And they're actually, all jokes aside, Kansas is a pretty good team. I think when you look at the Big 12 overall, you got Texas and Oklahoma up at the top, gap, Kansas, another gap, and whatever's going on with the rest of the Big 12. And I thought I could put West Virginia with Kansas, but of course they lost in Hail Mary fashion. Hug a West Virginia fan if you know one. But anyway, yeah, I'm taking Kansas and the points.
All right. So we're both taking Kansas to cover the 3 on the road. That's a 3:30 game. Don't care about them. Florida, I don't know if Fishing is still in here. Florida at South Carolina, kind of a battle for the bottom of the SEC here. South Carolina is a 2-point favorite, so it's literally a pick'em game unless you think they're going to win by a safety. Ooh, I'm really, really down on Florida. I think Florida's absolutely horrific. I know that they beat Tennessee. The thing is, Florida, the swamp is kind of your kryptonite, I would think, as a Tennessee fan. Y'all struggle down there, like Tech struggles at Virginia, like Miami struggles against North Carolina. I'm higher on South Carolina. Look, I do think they have a good quarterback with Spencer Rattler. Give me Florida here. Who's favored even? South Carolina's favored. So, yeah, I don't think South Carolina covers. Whoever's the thing I find first is what I'll go with. What do you think?
So are you picking Florida to win or just cover?
No, I don't. I got to go back and look. It's weird when you have these 2-point lines. I think South Carolina. Let me put it this way. Give me South Carolina an upset win, or I guess that would be to cover because they're already favored.
Yeah, yeah. Man, yeah. No, this is a tough one to call. Actually, if you think about it, it really isn't because while South Carolina is only favored by 2, you look at Billy Napier's road record. Of course, Florida at home is a formidable opponent, and I have to admit that because we lost to them at in Gainesville. But Florida at home in the swamp, and Florida on the road, 2 completely unrecognizable teams. One's decently good, the other is a complete train wreck and a dumpster fire. We saw that last week against Kentucky and Lexington. Florida just is awful on the road, and playing in what's going to be a pretty packed South Carolina stadium, there's no reason to think that it gets any better. At least the only team Florida's beaten on the road, or at least Billy Napier's beaten on the road, is good old Jimbo. Nobody else they've beaten on the road. So give me the Gamecocks to win and cover.
All right. Now we talked about the bottom of the SEC. Let's look at the bottom of the ACC. Wake Forest at Virginia Tech. I don't know how many years that Virginia Tech coach has been there. I would think he's got to be on the hot seat at this point. Virginia Tech is actually a 1.5-point favorite in this game. I guess that they're really playing into that Enter the Sandman entrance in Blacksburg. What do you think here?
I don't know. And you're not talking about Brent Pry, are you? Because he's as far as I can tell, he's only been there for like 2 years.
Has he? Okay. Well, they're 2-4. What was their record last year?
I can't recall.
They won 4 games probably.
Yeah, no, they ain't all that good. But Wake Forest has taken a complete tank like I expected. They've lost 2 games in a row. They lost to your Yellow Jackets, and then of course they actually gave Clemson a pretty big run for their money, but they lost. They're having to play on the road again this week. I think Wake Forest, lets out another dud. I think Virginia Tech wins.
Oh, you're taking Virginia Tech. Okay, let's find Virginia Tech on here to cover.
Yeah, the Hokies got to be on there.
Yeah, there's no way they're not. Where is these Hokies at? Where's that V? There's Virginia. You think they'd be together.
Yeah, really. The fact that it's not in alphabetical order isn't any help.
No. Dang, dude. Maybe someone in the chat has seen it.
Maybe. I'll take a look.
Looking. There's probably a way better way to do this.
Mr. Buzz Talk is calling for a Wake Forest upset.
Oh, we'll get to that. What in the world?
That's crazy. Have they fallen off that much?
That they're not even on here. It's Virginia Tech -1.5.
Yeah.
Well, we got to find Virginia Tech. Now it's a thing of principle. I'm an idiot for doing it this way. Duke, Oklahoma, blah, blah, blah. Akron. I mean, they got Akron on here. I think they've got every team on here.
You could just put, can't you just put Wake Forest in upset loss?
Yep, I can. That's what we'll do. Wake Forest upset loss. And this is where I'm going to say, not so fast, my friend.
I thought so.
Wake Forest, though they are a far, they're not the team they were last year by any means. They're definitely not the team they were with Sam Hartman. I don't think they're necessarily a bad team, though. Give me Wake Forest in an upset win on the road in Blacksburg. I think they get something together this week, hunting for a win.
All right. We shall see about that.
I'll be honest, I don't care about either of those teams. Let's keep scrolling down here. Who cares about Iowa? I know they're 5-1, but I don't care about the Big Ten.
Yeah.
All right, on the worst network in the country, the CW network at 6:30. They'll probably be playing live golf clips up until kickoff of this game, like they did when we played Wake. Number 14, Louisville on the road at Pittsburgh. Louisville favored by 7.5. I'll tell you this. I would take Louisville at 14 here. I don't think this game is ever close. I think Pittsburgh's horrible. Give me Louisville to cover.
Yeah, too hard to disagree on this one. Pittsburgh is a complete mess right now. Louisville's just riding high after that Notre Dame win. I mean, there's the off chance that Louisville could come into this game too high on themselves, and Pittsburgh gives them a little more than they were bargaining for. But I can't ride on that chance. I'm taking Louisville in the points.
Oh, yeah. I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised to see this at -7.5 for Louisville. And I'm also surprised to see the over-under at 44. I don't know if they just think that Louisville's going to score. Well, they got to think it's going to be within 7.5. I don't understand this at all, but Vegas knows a lot more than I do, evidently. We'll come back to the Pac-12, 7 p.m. Arizona goes on the road at Washington State. Now, didn't Arizona give USC? Who did they give a run for their money this year?
Both USC and Washington. In fact, Washington they only lost to by a touchdown, and then the week after on the road at USC they lost in like third overtime. Ridiculous game.
Okay, so Washington State -7.5. I'll tell you, Arizona has impressed me. I'm gonna take Arizona, or it's not Arizona who's favored. Washington State. Let's go find Washington State. They got to be down here somewhere. I don't think they cover, though. I think, in fact, you know what? Boom. Give me Arizona an upset win here. They're looking for a win. They've played a lot of games close. I think they get it together this week, and they go on the road and upset Washington State.
It's hard to tell with me. I think Washington State has been the victim of a bunch of letdowns, and I think they're in for another one this week. I think, Cameron Ward, the quarterback for Washington State, is an absolute beast. He's been playing out of his mind recently, and I think he has another great game, and I think he performs against this Arizona defense. And I think it'll be like a 10-point game. But I'm actually going to take Washington State to cover.
All right. We couldn't be more apart here. He's going to take Washington State to cover. I'm taking Arizona in an upset win. All right. Moving on. Auburn. Now, this is an interesting game, too. Auburn goes on the road, LSU. LSU has big letdown this year, 2 losses. To who? Florida State, and then they lost to who else?
Yeah, they lost to Ole Miss. Lane
That's
Kiffin
right.
put up 55 on them.
What do you think here? Auburn, played Georgia close, but I don't know. I don't know what to think about Auburn.
Well, one thing I know about some of these rivalries, and this includes LSU Auburn, is that no matter how good or bad each team is, it finds a way. The game finds a way to be close. And in my mind, I think we're in for another close game. Both of these teams, well, I do think LSU is better than Auburn. Auburn is better than what their record says. So it's close to tell. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm picking Auburn to cover, but I'm picking LSU to win.
So you don't think LSU covers. They win but don't cover.
Correct.
All right, so LSU doesn't cover the 11 points. I don't think I said that. It's LSU -11.
That's a big spread.
It is a big spread for what LSU has been up to this point. So you got them. They won't cover. Whew. I just can't disagree with that. I also think they win. They're just so much more talented than Auburn at this point. and they've just got more together in Brian Kelly's second year. I got to have LSU winning but not covering as well. How come? Okay, there it is. Won't cover. I got Buzz talking here with a $5 super chat. Says it took USC 3 overtimes to beat Arizona. If Arizona loses to Washington State or Washington State even covers, I've lost faith in teams. Arizona will upset.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I think with the USC situation, it's more about how bad USC's defense is, and less about how surprisingly good Arizona has been. Which both cases are true, but USC's defense is just that bad.
Yeah. Speaking of USC, they're undefeated, ranked 10th in the country. They go on the road to number 21 Notre Dame. Notre Dame now with 2 losses to Ohio State and a pretty embarrassing loss to Louisville last week. The 2-loss team is a 2.5 point favorite here. Got the over-under at 60.5. What do you think here?
I picked USC in the offseason and because I thought USC was going to be a much more improved team on defense. But as time has told, USC's defense has gotten somehow worse. I guess it's just one of those things like Iowa and offense to where, they just pretend it doesn't exist and only play one side of the ball. And I think that's going to come back to bite them on the road in South Bend. They've gotten lucky against teams like Colorado and Arizona, but against a team like Notre Dame, I think that's where their luck runs out. Give me the Irish to win and cover.
All right. Picking the Leprechauns here. Let's see where Notre Dame is in our absolutely schizophrenic list here. There they are. Notre Dame will cover. I also can't disagree with that. Notre Dame's got their backs to the wall here. USC has been limping along to each win they've gotten this season. I would have picked Notre Dame. First of all, I think they cover. I think they win. I would have picked them for an upset win had they been an underdog. Damn the line. Damn USC for making me pick the Irish here with their crappy defense. I absolutely hate Notre Dame. South Bend, Indiana is an absolute garbage city that no one would ever want to go to if they weren't a Notre Dame fan. Buzz Talk again with a $2 super chat says Notre Dame finishes was Arizona's started. I'm not sure there. Notre Dame finishes. Notre Dame finishes what Arizona started. Okay, I got you there. I agree. Now, one of the biggest, this game day might have been here, one of the bigger games here. Miami goes on the road. Their Achilles heel, Tar Heel, has been North Carolina in the past. North Carolina, though, only a 2.5 point favorite, even with the absolutely embarrassing loss to Georgia Tech. If you haven't heard about that, where have you been, man?
Was a real knee slapper instead of a knee taker.
Yeah. Most Miami fans still in denial. They're calling for refs to be fired, investigations to be opened.
I need to investigate Mario Cristobal for sabotaging that game.
I think that would make way more sense than the refs being in on it, like Mario Cristobal being a plant. Absolutely insane to basically I forget where I said it, and I don't know if you were listening, Squid Tard. The best analogy I've heard is Mario was sitting on 20 at the blackjack table, and he said, "Hit me." I mean, that's what happened.
That's a pretty accurate way of saying it. And Miami fans, they're a lot like Alabama fans. They're up there with them in terms of fan bases that, cannot handle losses at all. So to watch them melt down like this is very unsurprising.
Tell me who you've got with Miami on the road here.
Well, Mario Cristobal, to me, after that performance against Georgia Tech, has, we're talking about a Georgia Tech, and no offense to the jacket fans here, but, we're talking about a Georgia Tech team that lost to Bowling Green.
That is true. So, I can't disagree with that.
So, Miami has proven to me, in my opinion, that they just aren't built to, win anything meaningful. And I think that's a Mario Cristobal problem rather than a Miami problem. Maybe it is a Miami problem. I don't know. But point is, I think North Carolina, with Drake May, I think this is kind of a game where because people are sleeping on Drake May. They're talking about all these Pac-12 quarterbacks. I think this is a game where it comes out and proves that he's up there with the Heisman talk. And I think North Carolina wins in a blowout.
All right, so you definitely think they will cover.
Precisely.
Not so fast, my friend. This is my upset pick of the week. I think the embarrassing loss last week focuses Miami, and they actually come out, get the monkey off their back, and upset North Carolina this weekend on the road. Now, that probably will end up being my dumbest pick of the year. I just think when you take, like, in my preseason prediction for Georgia Tech, I said the best thing that could happen for Georgia Tech, and you can go check the receipts, guys, was an undefeated Miami coming in to the game with Tech. It happened. They overlooked us in North Carolina, and it went according to plan for WreckTalk. I think the worst thing that could have happened for North Carolina is for Miami to lose to Georgia Tech. I think they come out ready to go and with something to prove.
That would definitely, that would definitely be quite surprising. But you mentioned how it's going to get the monkey off their back from last season. To me, I think Miami has to win a national championship in order to get that monkey off their back. They're going to be talking about that play for years to come.
Well, yeah, they have to win a national championship due to their own expectations with the we're back every year. But yeah. So, exactly. Moving on, 7:30 on the SEC Network, Missouri at Kentucky. Kentucky's a 2.5-point favorite. A lot of really tight lines this week. Missouri and Kentucky both taking their first losses last week, I believe, right?
Correct.
Two teams I don't watch much of. I tell you this, though, I do really like, what is it, Derkowitz? What's Missouri's coach's name?
Mr. Eli Drinkwitz.
That's it. Drinkwitz. I really like him. I really like what Missouri is doing. I think they're a sneaky team. I think they're a team you don't want to play if you're a really good team, just because they have the ability to put points on the board. I would say if I'm going to say Missouri wins, I got to take them in an upset win with that tight of a line. It's tough with them both taking a loss. I don't know, though. Do I like them enough to win on the road? Probably not. Give me Kentucky here to cover in the win. What do you think?
All right. Well, yeah, this is going to be one of those games I think a lot of people are going to be watching to see, because both these teams prove that they're kind of fool's gold, inflated by their record. Nobody's surprised that they lost. But Missouri, they were surprisingly good on offense. And I do think that says more about how bad LSU's defense is right now. But Mizzou, Brady Cook had a really good game. I think he's actually a decent quarterback and has proven more than Devin Leary has to me. Also, Kentucky's offense right now as it stands, they're a one-trick pony to me. They rely heavily on running the ball. And while I do think they have success against Missouri with running the ball, I don't think it's going to be enough. Give me Missouri and the points.
So you think Missouri wins in an upset?
Correct.
All right. Well, now I was hoping you wouldn't say that. Now I got to go find Missouri. What is their thing?
They have to be on there. There's no way they aren't.
There they are. Missouri in the your first upset pick of the week, picking Missouri to win on the road. Man, I flirted with that pick. But I didn't have the kahunas to pull the trigger. Buzz Talk again with the $5 super chat says, I want UNC to beat Miami. If they do that, Georgia Tech plays a top 10 team in the nation, and we can show just how good Georgia Tech is. So he's saying we want North Carolina undefeated. We are the undefeated giant killers here in Atlanta. That would be great. Colby says Miami should have kneeled the ball. Water is wet. The sky is blue. This is correct.
If Georgia Tech does that and beats Miami, or beats North Carolina, I'm gonna have to start picturing them like Purdue, because I remember back 2 years ago, Purdue knocked off number 2 Michigan State and number 2 Iowa, and somehow still went 8-4.
Yes. Yeah, that would be huge. That would be huge for Georgia Tech as far as recruiting is concerned. We lost our number 1 recruit in our class after that Bowling Green loss, 4-star edge rusher CJ Jackson. We need to get some things going. Now, again, 2 teams I don't know much about, as evidenced by me saying that Uiagalelei played for another team. Number 18, UCLA at number 15, Oregon State. Oregon State's a 3.5-point favorite at home. Tell us about this game, Squid.
What about UCLA, Oregon State? Ooh,
Oregon State,
that is a
3.5.
tough one. Yeah, both those teams. There's a weird thing going on with these teams, to me, because like it's like a cycle, a continuous cycle. You got I think it was Oregon State lost to Washington State. Washington State lost to was it Utah? Or yeah, I think it was Utah. Then Utah, they beat UCLA. UCLA beat somebody else. It's a weird thing going on with the Pac-12. This is kind of what everybody expected, just different Pac-12 teams sabotaging each other because there's so many good teams. Oh my gosh, this is a tough one for me to pick. I think both these teams are really good. Dante Moore has proven that he's a decent freshman quarterback, except I like DJ in this one. Oh man, this is probably going to be a weird thing for me to do. I am taking UCLA in the points, but I think Oregon State wins. So I think UCLA win. I think UCLA wins by, or no, I think Oregon State wins by less than 3.5.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So Oregon State does not cover the 3.5 points, which if we reverse engineer that, you think they win by exactly 3.
Or less.
I tell you, so this is the team Van Gundy coaches, right? I really like Van Gundy. He has a stage 6 mullet, and I could never.
No, that's Oklahoma State. You got him switched again.
So I was right. I was right. Van Gundy was at the other team, but I was wrong. This is the team Uiagalelei plays on.
Yeah, and I think you might have picked the wrong logo too. I think you picked the Oklahoma State logo.
Oh my, dude, I'm all kinds of messed up.
See, I told you you get those 2 teams confused.
What does Oregon State even look like?
They should be
the Beavers.
Yeah.
All right. So you're saying they won't cover. Obviously, I'm completely out of my mind. So I'm just going to copy your pick. Okay. I have no idea who this team even is. I don't know who coaches them. I don't know anything about them. Let's move on. 8 p.m. on the ACC network. NC State comes to Durham, to number 17 Duke. Duke's a 3.5-point favorite. I'll be interested to see what you think. I think this is a dangerous game for Duke. I don't think NC State is a horrible team. I do think they have talent. And I think Duke's quarterback is hurt, right? That long, what's his name? Starts with an L.
Riley Leonard. Yeah.
I tell you what.
That's a tough loss.
Let me find NC State here. I think this is them because no, that's Arkansas, right? No, that's Arkansas. They I hate picking this because they have the ugliest logo ever that they have blown up on their side of their helmet 3 times bigger than it needs to be. Give me the upset win. I got a lot of upset wins this week. Give me NC State to upset Duke and Durham.
I got to say, that's kind of shocking there. I got to take Duke in the points there because, well, even without Riley Leonard, I think they're still more talented offensively than NC State. And NC State, just their offense is completely lackluster, and they're going up against what I think is a really good Duke defense. So in my mind, I think Duke wins here. And Duke is coming off of a bye week. They're hosting NC State at home. It's hard for me to ride against Duke on this one.
Yeah. Well, you know that I'm kind of out of my mind with picks when I have like all these upsets in the same week. But
That's fair, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've never, just because I picked 65% last week does not, like I said, mean I know what I'm talking about. Buzz Talk with a $5 super chat says, is it possible for me to come next Friday, October 20th, join you for picking the spread? Absolutely. You're appointed. You're next week's guest picker. We'll do it. All right, and I think that's all the games worth picking here. So let's review you. You've got one upset win. You've got Missouri upsetting. Who did they play?
Kentucky.
You got Missouri upsetting Kentucky. Got Colorado, Georgia, Ohio State. You got Tennessee. I think this is going to work out very good for you. I really do. I've got I've got these crazy upsets. I've got Miami upsetting North Carolina, NC State upsetting Duke, Wake upsetting. Who did they even play?
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, okay. Well, that one's not as crazy.
Yeah, Virginia Tech is favored only by like 1.5. So
yeah. Well, man.
C-Dog, yeah.
What's going on, Sea-Dog? What is going on, brother? Well, I will keep track of this. I just screen capture these, and we'll see. We'll see how you do. I have a feeling I'm getting beat this week, though. Squidtard, let everyone know what you got coming up.
Well, of course, tomorrow I'll be reacting to the games, thinking about perhaps doing a reaction stream to the Tennessee Texas A&M game. Getting a hold of student tickets as a transfer student is harder than anything the universe can throw at you, including being a Tennessee fan. So, yeah, I haven't been to a Tennessee game all year long. I really want to go to one, but I guess the lottery and the way that plays out as a student has not played with me. It's not been nice. So I'll just continue to hope that I get a student ticket. I absolutely have to make sure I go to at least one game this season, and we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, anyway, tomorrow I'll probably just be reacting to the games per usual. And then after that, only time will tell. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you for coming on, man. Thank you so much. And any parting words before we go on to the next thing?
Well, I guess what I will say is power to Tardaria, and of course, go Vols, baby. Hopefully we beat the crap out of the Fighting Jimbos tomorrow. All right, yeah. Shout out to WreckTalk, man.
All right, see you, everyone. That's Squidtard. We put his link in the chat. I will do it again. Definitely go subscribe to Squidtard. He does a lot of great things. Again, if you weren't here at the beginning of the show, he's the guy, all these graphics that you see, the intro video for the live show, he made. He's a genius when it comes to video editing and graphic design. Also, if you're just now coming in, I have heard from Touchdown Tim, and I'm going to open up the StreamYard, but I have heard from Touchdown Tim. He is pissed at his wife again. She made him go to some stupid barbecue tonight to meet his dumbass brother-in-law. He's not happy about it. But I'm hoping, since we're on a bye week, I'm hoping we can get him on Sunday with C-Dog and I. And I'll be interested, especially I hope he's happy with my pick, because if you guys didn't see, I picked Miami to upset North Carolina this weekend. I'm looking forward to having Touchdown Tim on. If you haven't gone on his Twitter, if you haven't subscribed to Touchdown Tim on his Twitter, I'm going to drop his link again. Go on there, comment on one of his posts, hashtag free Touchdown Tim. He's been shadow banned. I don't know why, with how reasonable the things he says are on there. There's definitely a conspiracy. I think what has happened, guys, if I'm being just 100%, keeping it 100, I think the Illuminati, the powers that be, have read his article, and I think they're trying to suppress the truth that we read on this very channel. So definitely go hashtag free Touchdown Tim. And with that, I see C-Dog in here. I'd love to have some of you guys on, get your thoughts. I just dropped the StreamYard link in the chat. Come on here. Tell me my picks are dumb. Tell me I'm dumb. Tell me you like them. Tell me what you think about Touchdown Tim, whatever. I would think Slim's happy that I've picked the upset with Miami. But I picked a lot of upsets this week. Oh, he's added me. Touchdown Tim has added me. He says, great feeling with my spaces working and my ghost band seemingly ended. Timmy is ready to take on the college football world. They're going to take on the college football world. He's added me. I don't know who this is. Alpha Mel Howard. Look at this guy. Wow. Let me switch screens here. We've got some people in the back room. We got the one, the only Slim Shady Canes on the line. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much, man. Are you happy with my pick this week?
Well, of course I agree with it.
Yeah, and I'm not even like trolling North Carolina. I really do think with how bad that loss was, y'all come out ready to play tomorrow.
I tend to agree with that. And, I mean, just looking at each team individually, I don't think anybody would argue that Miami has the superior defense.
To North Carolina?
Yes.
I'm going to be honest, the only North Carolina game I've watched was them against South Carolina, and it looked decent, but that's against South Carolina.
Right. Well, even just going by, total offense, total defense statistics, Miami's better in both. If you look at quarterback statistics, they're basically identical. I think, like, Drake May's got a couple of hundred more yards, but Tyler Van Dyke's, like 20 points more efficient, a little bit higher QBR. So I think these teams match up fairly well. But to your point, yeah, I think Miami's just going to come out there kind of ticked off, and that's going to be the difference in it.
Who's a better quarterback?
Between Drake May and Van Dyke?
Yeah. I'm surprised you have to think about this, but go ahead.
I mean, I've never taken anything away from Drake May. I would give Van Dyke an edge because of experience. He's got more a whole season more game time, basically, than Drake May does. But once again, that's not taking anything. Preseason, I said Drake May was the best quarterback in the ACC.
Okay, so it sounds like you're saying May's a better quarterback, but not by like a substantial margin.
Yeah, it's not whichever one you want to say is better. Of course, I'm going to go with the homer pick, but I wouldn't be mad if you said it was the other way. Yeah, it's not a substantial difference now.
Now, this should be good. We've got fishing football in the bag, and I've dogged his Gators for weeks now. Let's see what he has to say. What's going on, fishing?
What's up? How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good.
Well, since we're talking about Miami, North Carolina, what do you think there? Do you think Miami bounces back this week?
I kind of do. But at the same time, like, North Carolina's been dominant. I mean, I got North Carolina to win the game.
By how many?
And the excuse, I mean, like, it's like, okay, so Miami lost to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's a terrible team. I mean, Miami should have never been in that position to lose the game to begin with, which is true.
Well, I think me and Slim would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody.
But I mean,
everybody.
That's not an uncommon thing. Should Georgia have been in a 6-point game with Auburn?
No,
they shouldn't have.
Absolutely not.
No, of course not. Exactly. And so, like, it just so happened that you deserved to lose the game by the bad play call. I mean, it's just that simple. That's all. That's really what it comes down to. I I picked UNC, but man, I really wouldn't be surprised if Miami wins by 2 touchdowns. I mean, I really wouldn't.
Yeah, I would say that I'm probably in the minority of people that think Miami wins that game. I just do. For the same, like I said, preseason, I wanted Miami to be undefeated coming into this game against Tech. And I do think that played into our ability to keep it close to where we got an opportunity to win.
Sure.
Now we'll see how North Carolina handles that.
Yeah.
Especially coming off the loss to Bowling Green, it's like you got to give credit to the coaching staff too. Like they didn't just give up after losing to Bowling Green. They came in and beat Miami.
Well, I don't think anybody thought that Georgia Tech's coaching staff would give up. That'd be silly.
Well, I do think,
Well, so for everybody, but there is some teams that do give up. You know what I mean? So like you have to give credit where it's due.
Well, I like this was the feeling in the Georgia Tech fan base. It wasn't that we ever thought the coaches would give up. A lot of people did think the players just would kind of roll over and be done after that Bowling Green loss. Luckily, it didn't happen, and I do think that's a credit to the coaching staff. Obviously, they believed that they could come in there, shock the world against Miami, and did. C-Dog says UNC just has Miami's number. That's just how it is. Miami is about to go 0-3. Wow. So, because y'all
It's
have
not like Sea-Dog's been wrong before though.
y'all have North Carolina next week, right? Then who do you have?
No, we have North Carolina this week.
Or this week.
Next week.
So, and then who? Who are your next 3 games? So,
Clemson.
North Carolina, Clemson, and then what? I'll pull it up. I've got it.
I can't remember.
Virginia. He's got you losing to North Carolina, Clemson, and Virginia.
See, you know what I could see happening? I could see Miami rolling into this and winning a big game against UNC and then losing to
Clemson or Virginia.
Yeah, and then losing.
I don't necessarily think Clemson's a bad team though.
I don't either. I agree.
Their problems are kind of obvious, and Miami's were too. Like to the point I made of Miami shooting themselves in the foot. Miami is 120th in the country in penalties. They are one of the worst.
Yeah.
Well, you know where that blame goes. You know where that blame goes, though.
With the players, they're the ones that commit the penalties.
No, that's not true. No, the blame goes to where the same person that called the play to make you lose to Georgia Tech. It goes to the same person.
We will forever disagree on
it's
that.
a me,
Coaches
Mario.
Don't fumble. Coaches don't fumble. Coaches don't miss tackles. Coaches don't commit penalties. Blame needs. And
We've already had it.
Miami fans especially are bad about this. Oh, you can't blame these kids for nothing. These are just kids. You got to put all the blame on the man. No, I put blame where blame goes, in my opinion.
But didn't I hear you saying that Nick was a good coach because they didn't have like a penalty for however long? Didn't?
I just thought that was kind of weird. I never said Nick was a good coach because of that.
Okay.
No, that's a conspiracy theory that I've tried to feed into.
Now let's pause a second because I don't know how much you listened to Touchdown Tim, but I listened to that whole thing. What as a Miami fan, what do you think of Touchdown Tim?
I think he's the kind of person that gives Miami fans a bad name.
I disagree. I almost became a Miami fan after he almost had me convinced. In fact, I am kind of convinced.
I can see through every bit of the sarcasm dripping off of you.
It's not sarcasm. Like I'm leading the campaign. Go ahead, Fisher.
Slim, you're a walking pessimist. You're literally a walking pessimist. Like for every team in the whole country. Like that's what you do.
He is kind of anti-Slim. Touchdown Tim is anti-Slim.
Well, I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah. Like where you're generally more pessimistic on Miami, I don't think he's ever.
But now,
Yeah.
but now
Oh,
you,
yes, I'm pessimistic on my own team, but to Fission's point, he needs to quit listening to fake news out of Uncle Lou.
Oh, wow.
Just because Uncle Lou says it doesn't make it true.
that's not where I get my news, brother.
Yeah, that's
Definitely
exactly where you get your news. Because I'm not high on Notre Dame, and that's turned out to be pretty damn right. I wasn't high on LSU. That's turned out to be pretty damn right. And I think USC is elite on one side of the ball and absolutely abysmal on the other, which has been true for every Lincoln Riley head coach team ever.
But what
Well,
were
I
you
mean, I
wrong
could've told
about?
you.
I mean, you've told us what you're right about. I could cherry pick what I've been
There's
right
plenty
about.
of things you're wrong about too. You can't point out the things you're right about.
You were wrong about
Was
Louisville.
I wrong?
Yep.
A lot of people were wrong about Louisville. Yes, I was.
You were wrong about
I would
Colorado.
actually.
No, not yet. Not yet. I'm not.
They're not okay. If I
Yeah,
would
you
have
are.
asked
Yeah,
you,
you are. If you don't watch them play football, then yeah, you are. You're wrong.
did you think they were going to upset TCU?
No,
Not necessarily, but I still pick them to win 4 or 5
not necessarily. No, just answer it with a straight answer. It's very simple.
Man,
games.
Fishing
I
is
picked them to
on
win
you.
4 or 5 games. What do you want? I said they weren't going to make a bowl.
Now
I said
you
they were gonna
could
win 4 or
I
5
did.
games.
you could end up being right, but I think it would be fair to say up to this point in the season, you would not have picked them to be where they are.
No, they've looked better than I thought they were going to. I'm not going to argue that.
And that well, and for Slim's defense, that's for every single person that's ever predicted or looked at Colorado's schedule for the whole year preseason. I mean,
No.
Well, and
that's true.
Louisville, that kind of goes for Louisville as well.
It does, and
But
I
they
happen to
look
think that
damn
Louisville-
good.
Well, see, I'm kind of on two sides here. I think Louisville is good. I'm a big Jeff Rom fan. I'm a big Jeff Rom fan.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna possibly come away with the season with 3 losses.
Maybe
As
Buzz
easy
Talk.
as the schedule is.
Buzz Talk with a $2 super chat, and I absolutely agree. I would love this more than anything. Touchdown Tim for president. Could you imagine the things we could do with him at the helm?
I think we would do nothing because as soon as something happens, he would spaz out and go a completely opposite direction.
He would
So
investigate.
He's spazzing out every other week.
I think it's a good idea. But I mean, who does Louisville have left? Because you're saying 3 more losses, but they have the weakest schedule in the ACC.
They do, and they've kind of gotten over the worst part of it. Really, I mean,
Notre
most of it.
Dame, yes,
Well, they've still got to play Miami.
this is true.
And I do think that because regardless of it, there's 2 teams in the country that have a top 10 offense and top 10 defense, and whether people like it or not, Miami's one of them.
Yeah, well, don't lose to Georgia Tech.
So this
Top
is
10.
This is
Listen,
who
I picked Miami to lose 3 or 4 games, and that's still on track.
I picked
But you're
us
picking-
to. I picked us to beat y'all preseason. I look like a genius, don't I? Genius WreckTalk. Now
Fucking
here's
genius.
who Louisville's got left. They actually have a tougher out than I remembered. Pitt, they should beat the brakes off Pitt. But I mean, I think Pitt's given them trouble in the past, though.
Yeah, and
I
I
do too.
think there's something there. I tend to trust Vegas numbers because they're right more than they're wrong.
On the 7.5 points, they're giving them.
Yeah, like Pitt's going to give them some trouble that for whatever reason nobody's seeing.
All
Well,
right.
before you go into that, I just want to mention so Purdue and Louisville are pretty similar. I mean, Louisville's a better job, right? So he's got a better job. He's got maybe a little more talent and a little bit of an easier division. So he's there. He's pretty much doing what he's expected to do, but he always loses a few games in the Big Ten, right? So I
I'll
think
say this about
two
Louisville's talent.
losses is-
I was going to say, I'll say this about Louisville's talent, and it's something, and I got to give credit to Numbnuts that was there before. I'm having a brain fart on what his name was.
Satterfield. At Louisville?
Satterfield, that's
Yeah.
it. Everybody there runs a 4-2 or a 4-3. he probably has the fastest team in college football.
Louisville or Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this: they match up very well with your skill players. I think.
They do. They have a fast team, and I think that's part of what's leading into their success.
All right, let me hit a timeout here for a second. Buzz Talk with a $5 super chat says, if Touchdown Tim was the vice president in '63, the JFK theories would be solved. He's the greatest investigator of all time. I mean, there's nothing I can argue there. Now, I've got Eric Wallace in the back room here. Everyone else, be quiet for a second. I want to hear what Eric has to say. What's going on, Eric?
How you doing? How you doing tonight, Joe?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Doing all right. Hey, Joe, what are your thoughts on Missouri? Missouri football?
I like what Missouri's doing, and I like their coach. Now, I did pick them to lose this week, but I did say this. Are you a Missouri fan, by the way? Is that why you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Missouri's a team you don't want to play if you're a really good team. They gave Georgia fits last year. They tend to, kind of like Tech has been in the past, where they'll play up to the competition, but also play down to it. I don't know. I mean, they've got one loss right now. I think they're a good team.
Yeah, speaking of Tech, I gotta say, I mean, I've seen crazy football games, but I don't think that anyone's ever seen a game like what they saw last Saturday night. That was just wild.
No. I mean, number one, the a lot of things happen, right? 20.5 point underdog win.
Yeah.
That's the third time Key's done it on the road, so that's not necessarily anything special, but just the circumstances surrounding it. I mean, that's why it's national news outside of even football right now. To the point, I almost came out with a video in defense of Miami, which really is why I picked them to win this week. I mean, I'll kind of give it right here. Miami still has everything in front of them. There were some things Touchdown Tim was right about. I mean, every ACC undefeated team other than Duke is still on their schedule. So they still, I mean, theoretically are in the driver's seat. It just comes down to, can you shake that loss out of your head as a player and handle business going forward? Miami does have a brutal schedule going out, though, so it's going to be a tough out. Eric, you got anything else before we let you go?
And then I'm out in Washington State. Big game tomorrow.
Oh, Washington State and Oregon State? Is that what it is?
No, Washington, Oregon.
Oh, Washington, Oregon. You're in the state of Washington. Yeah, Washington, Oregon game day, close line. I picked Oregon. What do you think?
Well, it's going to be tough for the Pups, but I think Washington should win that game because they're going to have the extra man.
The home field.
Yeah,
I don't think I think that's fair, 100%. Well, Eric, we appreciate you having on, man. Thank you for calling in. You have a good night.
I actually want to piggyback on that.
Okay.
I know Oregon, like, to me, in my opinion, Oregon should be favored. That's the much more, in my opinion, complete and balanced football team.
I agree. I mean, that's why I picked them on the money line, just because they were an underdog. If you gave me I don't know 6 points, I'd probably still take them to cover.
Yeah, just to be honest, I mean, Oregon's defense is better, and like Washington's entire offense runs through Michael Penix Jr. And not take anything away from him, but Oregon's offense is just so much more balanced and just all around, in my opinion, a better offense.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I made the pick. Go ahead, Fishing.
Well, so my pick is Washington, but the reason being.
All right, so you agree with Eric?
Yeah. Well,
a lot of people are going to pick Washington.
Well, there is a lot, and it's gonna look. this is going to be the biggest game in Washington, like at that stadium since I can't even tell you when. Like it's
Mm.
going to be the biggest game since I don't know.
Probably since they beat
But,
Miami in 2000.
Probably right. Yeah.
Were
they in the Big
yeah,
East
so
or
it's-
something? No.
No,
Yes.
that was just a out of conference game for us.
Yeah. Okay.
Just played them again in 01. It was a home and home.
Yeah, I mean, I think Washington's offense gets the better of them and kind of shocks them. This is just my prediction, by the way. So, but I think they kind of shock them. I think Washington wins. I think they both play in the Pac-12 championship again. Both have one loss, and I think Oregon wins. So that's kind of my prediction. I think Washington gets this one, but I think Oregon gets it in the end.
Okay, that's fair. Let's pivot back to Louisville's schedule. Like I said, it's tougher than I thought. They got Pitt this week. Then luckily they get a bye that's well placed a week before Duke. Now they do have Duke at home. They are a more talented team than Duke. Duke is a team that's playing kind of above their pay grade the past 2 years, but that'll be a tough one. They've got Virginia Tech at home. They should beat the brakes off of them. They've got Virginia at home. But then they go on the road at Miami, probably their toughest game going out. Then they come back home and have Kentucky. So they could. So where would their 3 losses come from? Each ranked team they play: Duke, Miami, and Kentucky. You think, Fishing? I just don't see them
definitely could.
losing all 3.
Dude, I have
well-
a hard time picking Duke without Riley Leonard.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't know how long is he out for? Does anyone know?
They said
Yeah.
3 to 4 weeks, but I mean, high ankle sprain, you just
Yeah, that kind of lingers, doesn't it?
and
Seeing how bad that.
yeah, that looks so much worse than a high ankle sprain. I'm still questioning that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do think they have another loss minimum. I think they could lose to Miami or Kentucky or Duke. I just don't think it's all 3. Now, could they get upset by Virginia or Virginia Tech? That could happen too. I mean, it seems like every year every team loses to a team no one thought they would lose to. So, well, be interesting to see.
Yeah, and I'm a big one on that. Like, and this includes Miami. Like, even if Miami was clearing away the best team in the country, I would not pick them to go 12-0 just because I never pick anybody to go 12-0.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Well, I mean, you just had your scare. So, like, if you're a coach, you can literally have the talk with your team like, look, Georgia Tech's ass, and they just beat us. Like, you can motivate your team.
I appreciate Fishing for coming on. Georgia Tech is not ass. They are the greatest team in the country. I'm just kidding.
Just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, if you're an ACC contender like Miami is, like Mario needs
See,
to use that.
I'm still not sure Miami is. Now, to your point, yes, I do think he can use it. And one thing I am worried about is, and it's more, it's not necessarily the team. I'm worried about where Don Chaney's head is at.
Yeah, he got thrown through the ringer there. He got put in a really bad situation. Whatever with the refs. I mean, we won't go into it. I mean, there's an argument that his elbow was down. The ACC, I guess front office disagreed with that it was irrefutable. Either way, everyone's talking about that fumble, and it's not good. How old is Chaney? What year is he in? He's probably 21 or so, 20?
A senior.
His freshman year was 2020.
So,
No, he's not
No.
a senior. Okay.
He's a junior.
okay, so he's like 22. Still, if I'm 22 and my biggest mistake is national news, like that's tough. That would be tough for me
sure.
at 30, whatever,
Yeah, right. But I think to get him out of that, you use him early to punish North Carolina because he's a very physical runner.
He is. He is. Buzz Talk with the $5 super chat says Georgia Tech is ass, quote unquote. Daily reminder: Georgia Tech and Georgia are tied all time in natties. That is true. That is true.
I didn't know that.
I will say, yeah, we have 4.
Hey, Slim,
Uh-huh.
is Cam Kitchens back yet or no?
Yeah,
He was back last week, right?
yeah, he was back last week.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know. Okay, good. That's good.
I will say this. I know a lot of people, the only people that think Georgia Tech isn't ass are probably Georgia Tech fans. I get that. I do think Georgia Tech is a team like Missouri. I'm not saying they're as good as Missouri. That's not what I'm saying. Georgia Tech is a team that plays up to the talent and down to it. I think they're a dangerous team to play if you are a good ranked team, as Miami found out. And I think at least one other team will find out before the end of the season.
I also, well, and I'm not going to completely disagree with you, but I also think you're underselling how much Miami shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, no, I mean Miami definitely shot themselves in the foot. I do think Tech will upset someone without the pageantry, I guess, of the Miami game. Squid Tart in the house.
I'm not even talking about the thing at the end. I mean, Miami had over 80 yards in penalties, and most of them were
well, hold on. That's your fault. That's your fault. That's not Georgia Tech's fault. And so I agree with Rick. What he's saying is, hold on. I'm saying that shows that Georgia Tech is like literally like Miami penalties. Who causes Miami penalties? I mean,
well,
it really doesn't matter who you play, but it's like you can't sit there and say Georgia Tech's ass.
That wasn't an exclusive Georgia Tech thing. Miami had 110 yards of penalties against Texas A&M.
So was everything then Miami giving it away? Because Van Dyke also threw three picks.
I said I'm not going to completely disagree with you.
Okay. We got Squid Tart in here. Squid, I'm sure you stepped in. What do you have to say? It makes sense of all this.
Of which situation? Are we talking about Miami again?
Well, I assume you stepped in because you had a point to make. Now you're kind of like, what was that Republican, the guy who was the housing guy that he's like, hey,
I saw a 3-yard link, and
We're talking about
Bob Dole. That was his name, Bob Dole.
We're talking about we're talking about aliens, bro.
No, he's the doctor. The guy that was the doctor, black guy. I forget.
Dr. Drew?
Yeah, it was Dr. Drew. You're right. Go ahead, Squid.
Yeah, when I clicked on the link, I had no idea what y'all were going to be talking about on the other end. I didn't know what it was going to be. I was just going to run into the conversation. But if we're talking about Miami, then that's good news for me. I actually know something about them.
I mean, we're just talking about this week's slate of games in general.
Squid, I love that's so much like me to just step into a conversation that you don't even know what they're. I have so much respect for you, so much more than I already had.
Well, I remember TK. There was a TK live stream where she was. I didn't even know what they were talking about. I jump in and they're talking about who's going to win the 2024 election and why this candidate is much better. And I jumped in and the first thing I said was, "You got all of you are wrong. Jeb Bush is the guy who's going to do it."
Yes, I think that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair.
That's absolutely wrong. RFK all the way, baby.
Well, guys, don't count out Touchdown Tim. We've already started his campaign.
Yeah, touchdown, of course.
I'm all for that.
And then of course, your man crush in Cenk Uygur. Don't forget, he's thrown his hat in the ring.
Oh, okay,
well,
yeah.
Touchdown Tim has proven that he's not afraid to say what needs to be said.
Yeah, and he's being silenced. He's being silenced for what he said.
Oh God!
It's what needs to be.
That's how you know
what needs to be said.
That's how you know he might be telling the truth.
And he's carrying water for your Miami Hurricanes. You should be the biggest Touchdown Tim fan because Touchdown Tim said that Miami's still undefeated.
Like I said, there's like 7 rational Miami fans on the internet. That's it. There's only 7 of us.
You, Coop, and like 5 others.
Yeah, well, one of them's a buddy of mine in Nashville.
There you go.
On a lot of the streams too.
There you go.
Yeah, not in Miami.
Do all of your fans have CTE like the coaching staff?
Yeah.
The coaching staff doesn't have CTE.
Because if you guys didn't listen to that, his nickname for Mario Cristobal was CTE Cristobal.
Oh yeah, I listened to that whole thing. After you told me about it that night, Rick, I went back and listened to the whole thing.
It's so long. It's like 46 minutes, but like if anyone listening hasn't heard it, it is worth 46 minutes of your time. It is the greatest thing I've ever stumbled across. And
So hey, look, I know you went over it earlier, and I think I popped out for a minute, but since the Squid Man is here, what's the predictions on Tennessee versus Texas A&M?
we both had Tennessee there.
I think
I
Tennessee.
don't like it.
What y'all did?
I think Tennessee
Yeah,
wins by a
I
touchdown.
don't like it either. I don't like it either. Slint. Straight up.
Here's my argument, Squid. Tennessee is obviously a run dominant team. I don't care what you say, and you pointed it out. I'll give you credit. Texas A&M is the #1 run defense in the SEC. They're probably one of the best in the country. I haven't seen exactly where their rush defense is ranked.
Yes.
No, I think they're higher ranked teams, but they are #1 in the SEC. I know that for a fact.
Right. Well, I'm just saying they're one of the best in the country. I mean, by being best in the SEC, you're at least top 15ish in the country. I'm sure.
Yep.
I have no faith that Joe Milton and his arm can win a game until I see otherwise.
Ooh. What do you think, Squid? He doesn't like
my
Joe
God.
Milton.
Oh my God. So it's almost like I said this before, which I completely agree. Like,
let Squid get his answer.
I mean,
I was just gonna say, like nobody, like Tennessee fans are ready for the Nico train, and my argument against that is, and people are on this with the Florida game, and my philosophy on this is, if you watch the games, you could tell just by the offensive play calling alone that just the complacency, the stupidity, they did the same. And I saw this multiple times. We don't have Alex Golesh as our offensive coordinator anymore, so we aren't doing a lot of the stuff that he did. We aren't doing the trick plays. I didn't see any of the trick plays that got us to where we were last year. I didn't even see that until we played South Carolina 2 weeks ago. In the Florida game, for example, we did the exact same screen to the sideline like 5 times in a row. They barely. I don't know if it's a coaching issue. They just don't trust Joe Milton. Whatever the issue may be, they didn't give him a chance at all in that game to prove that he could run the ball, or even like here was our philosophy in the Florida game, for example: run up the middle, screenplay to the sideline, or pray that Joe Milton can find a wide receiver 50 yards downfield. That was it. None of the trickery that I saw from last season. It seems we've cleaned that up a lot in the last 2 games. Although I can see why you're skeptical on Milton. We haven't really seen him do anything. And I don't know if that's just because they were trying to hide our offense for whatever reason, because we were able. I mean, it was obvious towards like the 3rd and 4th quarter of the South Carolina and UTSA game. We were just able to run the ball down their throats and win the game that way. So there was no reason to deter from that. But now, we're going into a situation where that's not going to play out like that. We aren't just going to be able to run the ball down the #1 rush defense in the SEC. So we're going to have a philosophy change. That's just the way I see it. And, my whole thing with him is I just think Joe Milton is going to prove a lot of these people wrong.
I have a philosophy.
Okay.
I think that Joe Milton. I think Joe Milton is literally Anthony Richardson and Hendon Hooker combined, except he's worse than those combined. So like, he can run, he can throw, he can't read defenses. Hendon Hooker could. Like, I think it's just like that combined, except a little bit worse.
Yeah, but nobody. Not just
and I know he can throw deep balls.
Yeah, well, I think honestly, at maximum potential, Joe Milton is a better athlete than Hendon Hooker. But Hooker had the ability, like you said, to read defenses. I think Hendon was better at decision making than Milton is right now. And whether or not that gets fixed is something I think we'll find out tomorrow.
Well, I don't think that too many people are afraid of Milton's ability to run the ball, especially on a questionable knee right now.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. And then I mean, we talk about like the ball placement. Like Joe Milton just doesn't have the ball placement to put it in because you talk about the wide receivers all the time. Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman. Like you don't have those receivers, so like you have to put the ball in a place where a squirrel right can actually catch it, and just Joe Milton just doesn't really do that well.
Well, no,
Well,
he thoroughly
It's
earned
like
the name
it seems like
Overthrow
there's no.
Joe.
he's been better about it, but it's the drop passes have been
Yeah,
absolutely killing us. The receivers have been definitely the most underwhelming thing I've seen from this team this year is our wide receivers and the drop passes. It's been ridiculous.
I don't know what you guys are
Joe
talking
Milton
about.
is Joe Milton.
Look, I'm a huge
Joe
bluegrass
Milton is Joe
fan,
Milton. I mean,
and I will never pick against Tennessee. That's a great
Yeah.
song, Squid.
I just think it's ridiculous. Like, of course, Joe Milton was part of the problem when we lost to Florida. So was everybody else. The defense literally had 2 drives where they just decided they didn't want to play defense. And then, everybody's saying, start Nico and all that. Well, Nico would have done no better when you're doing the exact same
no.
freaking screen to the outside of where the sideline is 5 freaking
and-
times in a row.
And I'm with you on that, Squid.
Yeah.
I think the people talking about throwing Nico out there are completely silly. Just like the damn Miami fans that were screaming and hollering on the internet about benching Tyler Van Dyke for a true freshman. What are you people snorting pixie sticks?
Yeah.
Right. I just hope tomorrow, no matter what the result may be, I hope they let Joe Milton actually prove himself instead of doing the stupid run up the middle screen or, pray he finds somebody 70 yards down the field. Run the exact same play style of offense you did last year with Hendon Hooker and see if Joe Milton can handle it. And if he can't, then that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day.
Well-
We'll find that out.
Well, I have to say this. I feel like they tried to, and it just didn't work. I mean, there was multiple times in the Florida game. You mentioned that, but it's multiple games in general. Like Joe Milton can throw deep balls against smaller schools and stuff like that, and it works. But if he gets pressure on him, like he gets disrupted. Like it just doesn't work. And Hendon Hooker didn't get disrupted. Like it's just a different type of player, and that's just what you're left with. And
Well,
it
that's
just is what it
partly-
is.
That
Well,
is mainly with the offensive line. We missed because Cooper Mays
Dude,
went down, and then
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, they know. Well, of course, we missed Darnell Wright, of course, but missing Cooper Mays in those first few weeks, I think, was detrimental to our offense because this guy Ollie Lane, who's supposed to be our guard, they switched him to center, and he was probably the worst center I've ever seen in my whole friggin' life. And I'm glad that he's back to right guard because
In Florida.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
find
no,
your
no,
take
I'm-
funny, Squid, because like your take is the complete opposite of what I was listening to earlier with BBD and Sports Talk J. Like they were literally talking about sideline and screen passes is what it's going to take to beat Texas A&M.
Ooh.
Well, I
I'm
agree.
okay.
I agree
No,
with that.
that's dumb. No.
Well, no,
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree. If you look at how Tennessee lines up with Texas A&M, Texas A&M is going to get after Joe Milton. Like that's not even a question. Like I can't stand people sitting there talking about Texas A&M. They're unranked. They're no good, bro. Their defense is possibly top 10, top 15ish. Like they are going to get after you.
But the only way to counteract pressure is not sideline screen passes, slant flat, curl
Right.
flat, like all of these things
There
also
are
work.
many other ways.
You're
The
absolutely
slants,
right,
Which is
Greg.
where
the
his
quick
come.
slants was something we did at the end of the game versus South Carolina, and it went as smoothly as it could possibly go. Not that I'm saying that would go the exact same
South
way
Carolina,
against Texas A&M, but if our entire philosophy is if Joe Milton is pressured, then to forget the run game or forget the trick plays and just do sideline screen passes 12 times in a row, we may lose the game by 3 touchdowns at home. I'm not
Well,
like
look, Josh Heupel is calling the plays. Josh Heupel will do it as he sees fit. Nobody on here is questioning his play calling. It's just his personnel. So like he knows what he needs to do to get behind the Texas A&M defense. It's just the Texas A&M defense is really fucking good. And it just so happens that the secondary is the worst part of their defense. And so, like, taking the top off of it is the best case scenario, but you have to protect your quarterback first.
Yeah, look at what Miami did to them.
Be able to do.
That gives you a blueprint on how to beat them.
True. Miami beat them with really good wide receiver play downfield. Well, y'all kind of inside out at them too. Y'all hit screens, and then like 2 plays later, you'd hit a fly down the sideline. Miami did have the blue play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta spread it
you can't give up on the run because you still have to try and pull everybody up with the run.
Mm-hmm.
So your corners and your safeties are a step off. And every once in a while you'll break off a run because Miami did that when they played them. Like they broke off a couple of 20-yard runs, but that's what helps keep your defense honest.
And we have a variety of running backs with different feats to them. Like Jalen Wright is our power back who's able to run through.
I would have to disagree.
How so?
I would have to disagree. I mean, you have 3 running backs, but you don't have an elite running back out of that bunch, though.
Well, he didn't
like
say
Jabari
that.
Small. Like,
did he?
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, if you're looking at an offense, like, you need an elite running back to like take the reins of the game, and Tennessee doesn't have that either.
Of course, we don't have like a friggin' Bo Jackson in the backfield, but no, Jabari Small, Jalen.
Yeah, Bo Jackson.
Both those running backs.
Saying Bo Jackson, I'm just saying.
I think they're decent.
Solid back, like a really solid back.
They're solid enough to get the job done, I think. And then Dylan Sampson, our speed back, is going to make things interesting with the run game. Runs on the outside. Running the ball doesn't mean we just have to run up the middle every single play. There's plenty of different run plays. In fact, Tennessee has pulled out. They've pulled out a couple of trick plays last season. Dump off to the running back, then he throws back to the quarterback. That's happened multiple times, and plenty of times that's gone for touchdowns. But whether or not we'll see that tomorrow,
I'll just say this. I mean, oh shit, hold up.
Wow.
Oh, the cops out here. Hold up. My bad. Hold up. I'll come back.
That ain't the only thing out.
Yeah, no, that's a nice look for you, WreckTalk.
I'm slightly aroused.
Who wouldn't be?
They're trying to. They're coming for Wreck, and I'm like, yeah, he's not here, bro.
I am pretty confident my run-ins with the law are over, but guys, it is getting late. I think we had some really good discussions here. I'm gonna go around fishing. What's your last words before we kick you off here?
Well, as I'm watching the fire truck and all this stuff drive by,
are you
my
okay?
last words are, oh no, I'm okay. They're not coming to my house.
Okay.
Tennessee's. I've heard a lot of people talk about how Florida's the hardest team to figure out because of what they did to Tennessee and stuff like that. But I have the hardest problem figuring out what Tennessee is.
You'll figure out a lot about it tomorrow.
Yeah, we will, and I really think A&M's going to beat y'all. But
We'll see.
I think Alabama's win over A&M was downplayed because I think A&M's a really good team, which is why I think A&M's going to beat Tennessee. But I've been wrong before. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I think Miami's better than advertised, as long as Mario doesn't do stupid stuff. Oregon and Washington, I think Washington wins, and I think Oregon.
All right, that's way too many final words. Jesus, dude. I didn't want a dissertation on every take of every friggin' game.
Do a touchdown Timothy essay.
Jeez.
Jesus.
Slim, final words. Less than 5,000.
I'll leave you with 3 locks of the week. Miami over North Carolina, A&M over Tennessee, and Oregon over Washington.
Boom. Appreciate it, Slim. Squid, our faithful guest speaker. Go ahead. Final words.
I would just say by this point tomorrow, Jimbo Fisher will officially be on the coaching hot seat. All right. Thanks for having me on, WreckTalk. See you later, brother.
All right. Thank you, Squid. Well, I think that was a good show. Had some good discussions. We had Fishing, Slim, Eric Wallace and Squid again back on. Hope you guys have a great night. We got college football tomorrow. And guys, keep checking in because eventually, hopefully Sunday, it's touchdown Tim time, baby. Let's go.